Welcome to The Opinion. Let's look into the movements on the battlefield in Ukraine, the 23rd of March 2025. There are some big updates from yesterday and early morning. In the Novopavlivka direction, Russian forces have renewed their assault operations, making substantial progress in eliminating the Ukrainian salient north of Andriivka. Russian troops advanced along multiple fronts, capturing key positions and securing critical terrain. In the west, Russian forces advanced down a tree line, followed by progress along two other tree lines, capturing positions as they moved southwest towards forest plantations, establishing a foothold. Additional tree lines further east were also captured, further solidifying Russian control in the area. In the east, Russian forces made significant strides, capturing a tree line south of Yasinovo and further advancing northwest of Slovyanka. To the south, Russian forces secured tree-line positions along the Pokrovsk-Andriivka highway. This offensive operation has resulted in a territorial gain of approximately 12.67 kilometers in favor of Russia. The capture of the Pokrovsk-Andriivka highway is particularly notable, as it puts Russian forces in full control of the crucial road running from Donetsk city through Marinka and onwards to Kurakhova, Kostiantynopil, and Andriivka, extending further north to Shevchenko, south of Pokrovsk. While Ukrainian forces remain in proximity, preventing immediate logistics use, the highway's capture marks a crucial step towards improving Russian logistical capabilities. Source: AMK mapping. Next update: Russian forces progress in Chasiv Yar, Shevchenko district. Captured Russian forces have made significant advancements in the southwestern part of Chasiv Yar, penetrating the Shevchenko district. This offensive began when Russian forces crossed through the forest plantations in the grey zone west of Centralny Lake and entered the first residential areas of the Shevchenko district. Following this, Russian troops pushed further into the district, capturing 5 streets. Ukrainian forces are currently holding a defensive position on Mykolaievska Street, though Russian advances continue. Additionally, Russian forces seized several buildings south of the city centre, consolidating their territorial hold. The total territorial gain is approximately 0.94 kilometers in favor of Russia. Strategic impact and significance. The capture of key positions in the Shevchenko district represents a significant shift in control within Chasiv Yar. The encroachment into the southwestern part of the city weakens Ukraine's defensive posture and threatens to unravel their control of the surrounding areas. With Russian forces gaining ground in both the residential zones and the south of the city centre, Ukrainian forces will likely be forced into a more limited defensive perimeter. These gains could enable Russian forces to press further into urban areas, increasing pressure on Ukrainian defences in this vital sector. Source: AMK mapping. Russian forces expand bridgehead in Lyman direction. Russian forces have made significant progress in the Lyman direction, further consolidating their control on the western bank of the Zherebets River. Over the course of their operations, Russian troops advanced more than 3.1 kilometers along a tree line, securing several forested areas to the north. This expansion enhances their zone of control in the region. In addition, Russian forces captured positions in tree lines located in eastern Luhansk Oblast, deepening their foothold in the area. Further advances were also made to the north, with Russian forces seizing additional positions on the tactical heights west of Novolyubivka. Strategic impact and significance. The expansion of the Russian bridgehead on the western bank of the Zherebets River places additional pressure on Ukrainian forces defending in the Lyman sector. The capture of tree lines and forested areas, along with positions on tactical high ground near Novolyubivka, strengthens Russia's defensive posture and positions them for further advances. This progress undermines Ukraine's ability to counter Russian movements in the region, especially as the secured terrain offers cover and avenues for continued Russian penetration into Ukrainian-held territories. These advances could also be a precursor to further offensives targeting key locations in the Lyman and broader eastern regions of Ukraine. Source: AMK mapping. Ukrainian counterattack in the Oskil bridgehead gains ground. Ukrainian forces launched a successful counterattack in the southern Oskil bridgehead, making substantial progress in both northern and southern sectors. In the northern part, Ukrainian troops advanced from positions in the village of Zeleny High, moving through tree lines on tactical high ground toward Vishnev. They expanded their control to additional tree lines, capturing more positions. The Russian spearhead toward Borovska-Andriivka was neutralized, and Ukrainian forces recaptured positions in forested areas before advancing further north and seizing another tree line. Additionally, forest plantations east of Zeleny High were secured. The grey zone now extends to the villages of Stepny and Vishnev. To the south, Ukrainian forces made further gains, advancing through tree lines to the village of Nadia. They captured the village along with the adjacent forest and 3 nearby tree lines. Source: AMK mapping. Next update: Ukrainian forces make gains in Kupiansk direction. Ukrainian forces have made notable progress in the Kupiansk direction, advancing from central Petropavlivka, which they fully captured at least 2 weeks ago. Following this, Ukrainian troops crossed the Hanilitsia River at 1 or possibly 2 locations, securing part of the forest area southwest of Sinkivka. As a result, the southern half of Sinkivka has shifted into the grey zone, leaving its control uncertain. Additionally, the front line has been corrected further east, with Ukrainian forces solidifying their control over the easternmost houses of Petropavlivka, strengthening their defensive position in the area. Strategic impact and significance. The recapture of Petropavlivka and the crossing of the Hanilitsia River are key victories for Ukrainian forces, offering them strategic advantages in the region. The control over the southern half of Sinkivka, now a grey zone, complicates Russian efforts to consolidate their positions in the area. Furthermore, the expanded control of eastern Petropavlivka enhances Ukraine's defensive capabilities, providing a stronger foothold for future operations. With these gains, Ukrainian forces are better positioned to disrupt Russian supply lines and initiate further offensives in the Kupiansk sector, possibly forcing Russian forces to divert resources to stabilize the region. Sources: AMK mapping. Next update: Russian forces gain ground in Vovchansk direction. In the Vovchansk sector, Russian forces have successfully advanced in the eastern part of the city, recapturing positions previously held by Ukrainian troops in the ruins of houses. They have made significant progress along Korolenka and Kliboroba streets, eventually reaching Stepova Street, where they cleared out Ukrainian defensive positions. The offensive continued southward as Russian forces advanced down Kliboroba Street, pushing into Kotsiubinskoho and Osipenka streets, further capturing positions along these routes. This territorial gain significantly weakens Ukraine's defensive stance on the northern bank of the Vovcha River, particularly in the area surrounding Zonova Street. Russian forces have gained approximately 1.53 km in this push. Strategic impact and significance. The recapture of key positions in the eastern part of Vovchansk is a crucial development, as it significantly undermines Ukraine's defensive capabilities in the region. The advance down Stepova and Kliboroba streets allows Russian forces to further infiltrate the urban area, isolating Ukrainian defensive units and forcing them into more precarious positions. The capture of the streets surrounding Zonova Street and the northern bank of the Vovcha River opens the door for further Russian advances, potentially threatening additional Ukrainian strongholds in the region. This further consolidates Russia's territorial control and puts pressure on Ukrainian defensive lines in the Kharkiv region. Sources: AMK mapping. Russian forces advance in Kursk and Sumy regions. Over the past 3 days, Russian forces have achieved significant territorial gains, reaching the Ukraine border southwest of Melovoy. In the last 24 hours, they have opened a new axis of advance into Sumy Oblast, entering the village of Volodymyrivka and consolidating positions in its initial residential areas. Strategic implications of recent advances. The Russian military's progression to the Ukraine border near Melovoy and the incursion into Sumy Oblast via Volodymyrivka mark critical shifts in the regional power balance. Securing these areas not only extends Russian territorial control, but also threatens to disrupt Ukrainian defensive operations in the northeastern sector. The penetration into Sumy Oblast from a new direction suggests a strategic maneuver to outflank Ukrainian defenses, potentially compelling Ukrainian forces to redeploy and stretch their resources thinner across multiple fronts. This could lead to increased vulnerabilities in Ukraine's defensive posture, necessitating urgent tactical adjustments to counter the evolving threat landscape. Suryak maps. Russian forces make strategic gains in Sumy direction. In a significant escalation, Russian forces have successfully crossed the international border in a third location, advancing into the village of Volodymyrivka. The push began from Gordeyevka, where Russian troops moved south, crossing the border and entering the forested northern outskirts of Volodymyrivka. This advance continued southward, with Russian forces entering the first residential areas of the village, pushing Ukrainian troops back to the central part of Volodymyrivka. Furthermore, Russian forces secured positions in the forested areas west of Troitskoye. This advance represents a critical shift in the region's battlefield dynamics. The capture of Volodymyrivka places Russian forces in a strong position to disrupt Ukrainian defensive lines and logistical routes. The forested areas to the west of Troitskoye are strategically important, providing natural cover for further advances. The Ukrainian retreat into the central part of Volodymyrivka further underscores the pressure on their defensive lines. Russian forces are now positioned to continue pushing southward, potentially leading to further territorial gains. This development may lead to a realignment of Ukrainian defenses in Sumy, possibly forcing Ukrainian forces to reinforce the region at the expense of other critical fronts. Sources: AMK mapping. Thank you for watching. I truly hope you enjoyed it. You can find us on YouTube, Rumble, and X. The links are right here in the video. Until next time, take care and stay tuned.